I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we are talking to the CEO of XESPN, Electronic Servitor Publication Network, Peter Hager. He's here to talk about the company's innovative approach to digital customer engagement. The company is growth-focused managed services company that helps clients achieve their goals through the optimization of their digital strategies. The company's secret weapon, the digital engagement engine. It creates dynamic interactions and experiences that drive growth and improved results. Peter, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Logan. Great to be here.
My pleasure. Great to have you. Let's give the folks a big picture first. What is XESPN all about?
So probably the million-dollar question right out is, how difficult is it today to be a CEO, public or private? How difficult is it for predictable growth? And we're really, really focused in on solving that problem. And that is connecting that brand, that product with the audience that they so desperately need to be connected to drive that predictable growth. And 100% of that interaction comes from an intelligent experience, right? Just like we're having this dialogue and this conversation today, how are we able to replicate that in a digital manner when we're not face-to-face? So it's comfortable, it's transparent, and ultimately it connects humans. So that's what it does. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it drives growth for our CEOs.
Wonderful. You know, recently there's been a lot of buzz about digital transformation, especially coming out of Bill McDermott from ServiceNow. How does Electronic Servitor Publication Network see itself within the digital landscape?
Well, first and foremost, very rarely do you see that level of bold statements coming out of a tech firm. We commend Bill and we commend ServiceNow for where they're at. Realistically, what their charge is reinventing how we digitally connect with people with a modern platform. So the digital engagement engine is also built on workflow and microservices that automate the tasks that are needed in order to make that connection. But I think where Bill is really going is, have you been getting the results from the tools and the technology that's been out there to date, and are you satisfied with that? Our answer is no. People that we interact with, their answer is no, and they're demanding more. So we absolutely embrace that bold challenge forward with, let's eliminate the waste, let's drive growth, and let's really produce a modern, business.
Absolutely. There's a void and you're filling it, and that's where success is often born. As of late, there's been an increased effort to promote CRMs and omni-channel publication looks such as Salesforce, HubSpot, MailChimp to help companies grow. How does your company work with CRMs?
So first and foremost, I think the marketplace is full of great tools, right? And when you really look at it from the CEO's perspective, do we have the right people using the right tools to produce the right outcomes? So we work with all of the largest tools and the largest brands out there. There's really no lack of tools, but there is a lack of integration and process over those tools to drive the results. So again, as a ServiceNow would tell you, the modern approach is getting all of that working together. And an Electronic Servitor Publication Network, it's really about having meaningful interaction between your content and your audience. And that comes from an intelligent, tech stack, which is what the digital engagement is. So there's no need to go out and not leverage a tool that you already have or purchase a new tool. It's really getting the people, the tool embedded with the right processes to drive the results that CEOs are demanding.
There's a man out there who everybody knows. He's purchased a huge platform recently, Elon Musk. He's purchased Twitter, as you know. He champions it as a free speech platform. Where does Electronic Servitor Publication Network stand on public social platforms, rather?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to the tools question. First and foremost, one would say the dissemination of information across platforms today is unlike any other in time, obviously it being instantaneous. We embrace every platform that's out there because it's really about a person's choice of how they want to gather information and from what source. So that proliferation is fantastic. What's genius in Elon Musk's companies is really also one of the downfalls. Quite interesting, right? And I digress here for 1 second. Imagine a person that's brought us space travel, sophisticated satellite communications, EV cars, and you would think that the least complicated of all of those companies would be a social platform. And the reason why I bring it back together, people are very complex. People are very nuanced. So to work with the social platforms, you want to have the intelligence and you want to be able to interact with your content and your medium on their terms, right? So you co-create that experience with your users, and we absolutely commend the platforms that are out there. Obviously, transparency and truthfulness is one of those dialogues as well. But ultimately, let's let the consumers decide how they want to interact with you and your content, and then let's make that interaction meaningful.
Great points. Twitter, Facebook, whatever the social media platform is, it's highly personal. This is where people are posting their lunch, their dinner, their grandkids. So it means a lot to folks. So it is a delicate relationship for sure. From your messaging, Electronic Servitor Publication Network touts itself as a growth engine through its product, Digital Engagement Engine, which uniquely handles content provisioning in order to drive a more in-depth conversation to get the end user's preference. How is this beneficial for the marketplace?
So I think if you just simplify that statement in its totality to a decision maker, a CEO right now, you have to ask yourself, how are you being represented as a brand through all these online channels when you're not face-to-face? Are you producing a monologue, a one-way, here's our message, here's our story? Or are you going with a modern approach where it's a two-way dialogue or a conversation? The digital engagement engine overlays with the tools to ensure that you are having a co-created conversation that is meaningful to the individual user rather than a one-size-fits-all. And that meaningful interaction drives a greater relationship with your audience, it drives greater trust, and ultimately it drives greater growth in your organization. And very simply put, replicate what you do face-to-face, and if we can do that online, which the digital engagement helps you do, you're going to produce better results.
Wonderful advice. Now, the digital ecosystem is an exciting space, but it's a crowded space, as you know. So beyond the digital engagement engine, what distinguishes Electronic Servitor Publication Network from the rest of the market?
I think it's very simply put as our value. And very rarely will you find an organization that says to the CEO, who is out there under extraordinary pressure to produce, again, predictable growth. And they're the champion both upstream and downstream for customers, right? So upstream from shareholders, midstream with employees, downstream are their end user customers. Their job is to activate their culture and create a competitive advantage with that culture to create the right experience and growth. What we actually tout as one of our claims to being real and being modern is, why don't more providers stand with the CEO and ultimately guarantee growth? Our entire model is, we help you grow. If we don't, we'll shut it off immediately. Why? Because we want the investment in us and the digital engagement engine to be funded by the very growth that we help create with your team, with your brand, and then we all win. So the modern approach is really one of, are you truthfully partnering with a customer, or are you trying to sell them more seats? And I'm not disparaging between those that sell seat. There's a place for those tools, but our job is to truly partner with the CEO and produce that growth. So we absolutely put our money down on, we will produce that growth with you. We create that relationship with that CEO, and that's what they like about the modern approach.
Great insight, great advice. Peter Hager, CEO of XESPN. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Logan.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.